Hello everyone, and welcome. I'm excited to start our session today. Today, we'll be exploring Mega Goal 1.2, specifically Unit 8, titled Wishful Thinking. Our focus will be on listening and discussing, so get ready to engage actively. In this presentation, we'll cover key concepts about wishful thinking and how it applies to our lives and conversations. Let's get started and have a great session together. Now, let's take a look at some of the wishes we might have. These are simple, everyday desires or hopes we often think about. For example, making a wish, asking questions about wishes, or seeking answers for specific information. We use these to learn more or clarify things. Listening also plays a big part, especially when imagining different situations that aren't real but help us understand better. Talking, of course, is how we express our wishes or questions out loud, sharing our thoughts with others. Throughout this lesson, I want you to remember that these skills, making, questioning, answering, listening, and talking, are all essential tools for effective communication. They connect directly to our overall goal of becoming better at expressing ourselves and understanding others. Have you ever wanted to have more money? Why? I think many of us have asked ourselves that question at some point. It's a common desire because money often represents more freedom, security, and opportunities. But today, I want to explore not just the why, but also the how we can approach achieving that goal. So, let's warm up by thinking about what money really means to us and how it fits into the bigger picture of our lives. Remember, understanding our motivations is the first step toward making smarter financial decisions. Let's talk about hope and how it differs from wish. When we say we hope for something, it means there's a possibility that it could actually happen. For example, I might say, I hope I get the job I applied for last week. This shows a genuine desire, but also an understanding that it's not guaranteed. On the other hand, wish is used when we're talking about something that's less likely or even impossible. Like saying, I wish I had a better job. It's more about longing or dreaming, rather than expecting it to happen. So the key difference is that hope carries a sense of possibility, while wish is more about desire, often with no real expectation. This distinction is important as we look at how we express our goals and desires in different contexts. So what exactly is meant by wishful thinking? Well, it's this tendency we all have to believe or hope that things will turn out the way we want, even when the evidence suggests otherwise. It's that optimistic bias where we imagine the best possible outcome, sometimes ignoring the reality in front of us. This kind of thinking can be quite powerful because it fuels our motivation and keeps us hopeful during tough times. However, it's important to recognize that it can also lead us to overlook risks or make decisions based more on hope than facts. In the context of our overall theme, making informed, rational choices, understanding wishful thinking helps us stay aware of our biases. It reminds us to balance optimism with critical thinking, so that we're not just chasing our hopes, but also grounded in reality. That way, we can better navigate challenges and make smarter decisions. Let's take a moment to reflect on what we've just seen. We have a sequence of numbers from 6 down to 1, and the question is, do all responses seem to be reasonable? This prompts us to think about how we evaluate answers and whether they make sense in context. Next, we ask, how many persons are there? This is an important question because understanding the number of people involved can influence how we interpret responses and interactions. Finally, the slide encourages us to listen and discuss. This is a key part of the process. Listening carefully to each other and engaging in discussion helps clarify points and deepen understanding. Remember, this exercise ties back to our overall theme of communication and critical thinking. Being attentive, asking the right questions, and verifying responses are crucial skills we want to develop. So, when it comes to staying connected with family and friends, he chooses to keep his cell phone with him. It's his main way of staying in touch, especially when he's away from home. He also mentions that having a cell phone means he wouldn't get lonely or cut off from everyone. Now, you might wonder why he would take his cell phone to a desert island. Well, even in a remote place, having a phone could be a lifeline, whether for emergencies or just feeling connected to the world. It highlights how important communication is to him, no matter where he is. He's 23 years old, which tells us he's at a stage in life where staying connected and sharing experiences is really valuable. And finally, addressing the question of Seed's age, he is 23. This detail helps us understand his perspective and priorities better, fitting into the overall theme of how young people today value connectivity and staying in touch, no matter the situation. When we talk about no poverty, we're essentially saying no one should be poor. It's about creating a society where everyone has access to basic needs and opportunities. If we aim for this, it paves the way to build one of the greatest empires, an empire rooted in justice, equality, and compassion. Now I want to ask, why did he choose to be Omar bin Abdul Aziz? Well, Omar bin Abdul Aziz is known as a model of fairness and kindness in history. He's remembered for his efforts to promote justice and reduce inequality. So, choosing to embody his qualities means striving for leadership that cares deeply about the well-being of others. Who would he be if he could be a historical figure? It's a way to think about role models, someone who exemplifies the values we aspire to. And speaking of age, he is 17. That's quite young, yet he shows us that age doesn't define the impact we can have. Finally, how old is Ahmed? Well, that question might seem simple, but it reminds us that everyone, regardless of age, has something valuable to contribute. All these points tie back to our overall theme. Leadership and change start with us, and the choices we make, whether it's aiming to eliminate poverty or choosing role models, shape the future we want to build. So let's talk about E.T. Yes, an extraterrestrial, or E.T. for short. This is someone from another planet, someone who could give us insights into life beyond Earth. The idea is to explore what it might be like to find out about life in the universe, which is a huge and fascinating question. Now, why would someone want to travel with an ET? Well, imagine the possibilities, learning about different worlds, understanding other forms of life, and maybe even discovering new technologies or ideas. Traveling with an ET could open up a whole universe of knowledge and adventure. But what if you could actually travel with an extraterrestrial? What questions would you want to ask? Think about it. What would you ask during a close encounter? Would you want to know about their home planet, their culture, or how they survive? It's a moment that could change everything we know about the universe. And just to clarify, I mentioned he is 16. So if I ask, how old is Bob? That's just to remind us that even someone as young as a teenager can be curious about these cosmic questions. It shows how universal the desire to explore and understand is, regardless of age. So, in summary, this slide is all about curiosity, about extraterrestrials, about traveling through space, and about asking the big questions that connect to our overall theme of exploration and the search for life beyond Earth. The weather in Hawaii is really fantastic all year round, which makes it an ideal place for surfing. The waves are just fabulous, attracting surfers from around the world. So, it's no surprise that someone might want to go there specifically for the surfing experience. Now, why would he like to go to Hawaii? Well, it's because of the great weather and the excellent surf conditions. He'd definitely choose Hawaii if he could pick any place to visit for surfing. If we think about the kind of person he is, he's 15 years old. That means he's at an age where adventure and new experiences are really exciting to him. And just to clarify, how old is Steve? He's 15. So all these points tie together to show why Hawaii is such a popular destination for young surfers like him. It's about the perfect combination of climate, waves, and adventure that makes Hawaii stand out as a top choice. So here we see the idea of changing your look. The statement, nothing. He wouldn't make any changes, suggests that this person, Hamid, is pretty happy with how he looks now. But it also makes us wonder, if he could change something, what would he change? It's an interesting question because it touches on self-perception and how we might want to improve or just tweak our appearance. Now Hamid is 20 years old, which is a time when many young people are still figuring out their style and identity. The slide also asks, how old is Hamid? which reminds us to think about how age influences our confidence and self-image. Overall, this slide connects to the broader theme of self-awareness and personal growth. It encourages us to think about how we see ourselves and what changes, if any, we'd like to make. Sometimes, being content with who we are is the best place to be, but other times, a small change can boost our confidence. It's all about understanding ourselves better and embracing our unique look. Let's take a journey through time to explore what kind of new technologies people might be using in the future. It's fascinating to think about how innovation could change our daily lives and the world around us. Now, you might wonder, why did he choose to focus on the future? Well, looking ahead allows us to imagine possibilities and understand how current trends could evolve into something completely new. It helps us see the potential of technology to shape our lives. When asked whether he'd prefer to go to the past or the future, he chose the future. This choice reflects a curiosity about what's to come and a desire to experience the innovations that could redefine human experience. By the way, he is 19 years old. Knowing his age gives us context for his fascination with the future. Someone at that age is often eager to explore new horizons and possibilities. And just to clarify, how old is Leonard? He's also 19, which makes him at a similar stage of life, full of curiosity and looking forward to what the future might hold. All of these points tie into our overall theme of exploring future possibilities and understanding how technology can transform our lives in ways we can only begin to imagine. Let's take a moment to look at some new vocabulary that we've encountered. These words are important because they help us better understand the concepts we've been discussing throughout this presentation. When we learn new vocabulary, it not only expands our language skills, but also deepens our comprehension of the subject matter. Pay close attention to these key terms, as they often come up in different contexts and are essential for effective communication. Remember, understanding these words will allow us to connect ideas more clearly and think more critically about the topics at hand. So, as we move forward, keep these new words in mind. They are tools that will help us engage more confidently with the material and with each other. These vocabulary words are a bridge to a greater understanding of the overall theme we're exploring together. Now, let's look at some achievements that truly benefit mankind across the globe. One of the most prestigious awards in this area is the Science Prize. For example, Prof. Ali Hilmi Ahmed Mousa and Dr. Nabil Ali Mohammed received this honor, recognizing their impactful contributions to scientific advancement. There's also the 2012 Prize for Service to Islam, which highlights efforts that promote understanding and support within the Islamic community. You might wonder, what kind of achievements qualify someone for these awards? Generally, they require significant positive contributions, whether in science, service, or cultural fields, that have a meaningful and lasting impact on society. For instance, Prof. Alexander Varshavsky was awarded a notable prize. Do you recall which one? His work in molecular biology earned him a distinguished recognition, emphasizing how scientific breakthroughs can benefit humanity. Similarly, the Arabic Language and Literature Prize was awarded to individuals who make remarkable contributions to enriching and preserving the Arabic language and its literary heritage. And let's not forget Sheikh Suleiman al-Rajhi, who received a prize for his outstanding efforts, likely in philanthropy or community service, that exemplify how dedication can bring about positive change. Overall, these awards underscore the importance of contributions that serve and uplift humanity, aligning perfectly with our broader theme of recognizing efforts that make a real difference worldwide. Let's take a moment to look at the key points on this slide. First, we have the letter B, which represents the foundational element of our strategy. This is where everything begins, setting the stage for what comes next. Moving on, we see A, which builds upon that foundation, emphasizing the importance of a strong starting point. Next, E highlights the role of execution, turning plans into action effectively. Then, C reminds us of the need for continuous improvement, ensuring we stay adaptable and responsive. Finally, D underscores the importance of delivery, making sure that our results meet expectations and drive success. Together, these points form a cohesive framework that underpins our overall approach. They remind us that success isn't just about planning. It's about executing, refining, and delivering consistently. Keep these key concepts in mind as they are central to achieving our goals and maintaining a competitive edge. So here we see a series of statements marked as false and true. The first two are false, which might indicate some common misconceptions or assumptions that need to be corrected. Then, the following four are true, emphasizing the correct understanding or facts related to our topic. This pattern highlights how critical it is to distinguish between what is true and what is false, especially when dealing with complex information. Recognizing these truths helps us build a more accurate picture and avoid errors based on misconceptions. Ultimately, understanding these key points supports our overall goal of clarity and accuracy in the subject we're exploring. It underscores the importance of verifying information before accepting it as fact, which is central to the theme of our presentation.